Welcome back to the Continental, everybody. I am Jeff, joined by my co-host Kevin. This time we're wrapping it up with John Wick Chapter 4. All right, Kevin, was this your first time checking this one out?
It was. I
And
ordered this one, and it's a movie. I liked this one. I
okay.
ordered this one specifically for the show. I hadn't bought it yet. I hadn't bought the third or fourth one yet
Okay.
because I had it on a shared server with a friend, and I just hadn't
Okay.
gotten around to it. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I get the hype.
Yeah, I saw this one in the theaters on like the Thursday well, it was like the Thursday showing. It wasn't like a midnight release or anything, but it was basically the first showing in my theater that put it out, and I had a blast with it. I had so much fun. This movie is so crazy and so in depth and so like expansive. It almost knocks you for a loop the first time you see it. It's just like, whew, when the movie's over with it, it's like you're left like out of breath from the whole experience. And I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I had a blast watching it in the theaters. I loved it so much. I have like multiple copies on 4K, and I can't get enough of this. This is great. And rewatching it now for the first time since then, because I knew we were covering this, I like it even more now than I did before.
What was it like seeing on the big screen? Like these
Was
amazing places that they go to.
It was pretty dope because I've never seen any of these Wick movies in the theater like at all. And my theater was packed, and they oohed, they awed, I wouldn't say this was like the most like liveliest of crowds I've ever been at until the end credits hit. And that's basically when Wick tips over on the stairs in front of the cathedral and after the duel. Once the credits start rolling, everybody cheered like, yeah. Like that's a fucking movie kind of feel. Like I haven't seen that since like Independence Day, and that was super cool to see because up until that point, like you could tell everybody was into the movie and having a great time. You laughed, you went ooh, like bone crunching scenes or incredible deaths or stunts or whatever. But when those end credits hit, like everybody was just like, it was almost like a high five kind of crowd. Everybody was like, yeah. And then some people would leave and it's like, yo, there's something at the end of the credits. Like everybody knew there was something at the post credits because of like early press screenings and whatnot. And some people were like, oh, there is. And then other people were like, forget it. Who cares? And everybody who stayed for that post credit scene was just like, oh shit. What's happening next? Because it's like, you're not cluing in on John Wick, you're cluing in on Kane and what's happening with him. It's like, ooh, what are you teasing there? I mean, or is that an assumption for a finale for the Kane character? We don't know. We don't see anything that happens, and the whole thing's kind of fuzzy, so you don't really know whether you should buy it or not.
Somewhere the writers were like, they bought it with the fucking Sopranos. Let's see if they'll forgive us for it too.
That's pretty funny. But no, this was a great experience in the theater, and it was well worth seeing in the theater, in my opinion.
That's cool because I mean, it just seeing it even on this tiny ass laptop that I watched it on. It like it's very vibrant, and the places they go to are gorgeous.
Yeah,
not
like
to skip ahead too far, but the end scene or towards the end where the duel starts, and he asks Winston for advice, and he tells him, "Look at that sunrise. It was gorgeous."
Yeah. Like we all like we're with the audience. We're all like, wow, that is pretty freaking dope. Like the way they set up camera angles, the way they shot certain scenes, just the whole thing is outstandingly beautiful with its visuals and all the lighting that they did, everything they did. Even though at times you felt like, okay, I know that CGI, but that is super freaking cool. It's like not bad CGI. It's obviously outstandingly beautiful. That's unfortunately how it stands out. It's like that's almost too pretty to be real.
Some of it, yes, it is. well, like I said with last week, where he had the guy by the neck and put it up against the other guy's sword and then ran it across the blade.
Oh
Like,
God, yeah.
it was so blurred because he was moving him so fast. Like, naturally, that's going to be a blurry shot. But the arterial spray was clear as day. Like, it was beautiful. That's how they did the VFX.
Oh yeah. I mean, and actually in this movie, now that I had it on at home here and I could hit like the pause button, and whenever I saw like the blood splatter scenes, there were sometimes I paused just so I could write down a note real quick. And there was like blood spatter on the lens. I don't know if that was like legit blood spatter or somebody in like the special effects was like, hey, let's add a little extra touch to this to make it maybe seem like it's real blood. And I'm like, that's just super cool. Like the detail work is just as like the last three is incredible.
Yes. And like, as with the first two sequels, this is another progression or a step up from the third movie, I think, like in
Oh
every
yeah.
way. I can't say that I like this movie better than the third one, but this is a broader film than the third movie is in various scopes. From
Right.
locations, somehow even locations are bigger than this. Stakes are bigger. Action scenes are manageably bigger. It's a mind-blowing movie.
Yeah, the character dynamics are even bigger. Like there's more choice roles for everybody in this. Like you'd think Winston's only in the movie for like maybe like 5-10 minutes. He's in this movie quite a bit. You got Kane. Here's like, well, you're introducing a bunch of new characters. They're all equally in the movie just as much, and they all play just as good of a role as they do when they first appear as when they last appear. None of them feel diminished, and it feels like they all contribute to the narrative of this movie and their own arcs without sacrificing anything. It's like the writers carefully constructed the story of this movie, all the character arcs, and it was up to the actors to deliver it all, and they all delivered it in spades. Like I even like Bill, like he was freaking fantastic as the Marquis.
Yes, he was. He was extremely unlikable.
Yeah.
And when I say that, like, I attribute that in the same regard to Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is one of the greatest actors of our time, but he is the biggest douche nozzle in fucking Gladiator, like to the point where you hate him so fucking much
Oh yeah.
that you almost let that carry over into a personal vendetta, like Sally Fields with Mrs. Doubtfire. She knows what she did.
There we go off on our first 0 Point. That took us what? 10 minutes? That's a
10
record,
minutes.
Kevin.
Thank you. But Skarsgård, like, I didn't really recognize him at first without all the clown makeup and shit. And I was kind of like, well, who is this guy? Like, he's not menacing at all. And I think on a level of comparison, he's not. He's not one of the more menacing bad guys.
No.
He's not the least, but he's not the most either. But he is scary in his own right. He is, even without the clown makeup on.
Yeah, he balances his own intimidation and power in different ways than the other villains have throughout the previous entries, where the rest of them have shown that they can fight, they can shoot, they can get into it with John Wick. He doesn't fight at all in this movie. He just tells people to do things. So he's got a different sense of like authority and power. He's like the next step down from the actual table leaders. Yeah. He's basically their little bitch boy. And he pretty much acts like it. And I love his ending where he looks over at Winston and he's like, what do you think of your boy now, sort of thing. And Winston's like, you arrogant asshole. He never took this shot. And then the sun blowing up at the eyes and looking over and then getting smoked was just like priceless, because it wasn't even but a split second that we all realized that as the audience, like if you weren't paying too much attention to that last shot of the duel, he still had a bullet left, and he told him he was going to kill him, and he did.
And it was a good plan. But just before he blows his head off right here, which was, again, great CGI scene with that blood. It was just a mist, and that's all it needed. And I like to think of this as more or less as a Sergio Leone shot. nice pulled back shot, and it was awesome. But before he shoots him, like you said, there is the briefest moment of surprise right here where
Surprise.
he knew his fucking goose was cooked, and it was marvelous.
Yeah, and he couldn't get the shot off quick enough either because he's not a shooter. He can kill people with a gun, but he's not like this proficient assassin like at all. Or he would have already smoked John Wick from the side.
Kind of, yes. I don't know where his place in this world of assassins comes from. Like, again, maybe he's just good with blades,
because he wanted the blades for the duel. He never got them.
Oh, that's right, huh?
Yep, it was either that or he had in mind that Kane was going to be his proxy for the fight from the word go anyway. And he's good with his sword and knives. I mean, either way, you could look at it a couple different ways. We don't really know for sure, but I think the safe assumption is he was going to be choosing Kane to do the fight regardless, and Kane would have been better with a sword, I think.
Yeah, he's fast as shit. He's stabbing John in the hand before he could even get the word thank you out. Or the words thank you.
Now we're even. Or whatever they said between each other.
That was fucked up. I wasn't sure how I was going to like him.
Donnie Yen. Oh.
Donnie Yen was fantastic.
He stole this movie for me, in my opinion.
The more he goes on, yeah, I think so.
At the beginning, I'm like, yeah, I kind of see where we're going with this. And by the end of the movie, I'm like, I want his movie.
That would have been fun. Because again, Kane is more or less based on legend, the way John was in the first movie.
Right.
And to the point where you don't get to see him do anything for the first, quarter of the film? Third, maybe? And then finally people are going, are you going to fucking do something or what? And then finally he just goes out and cleans house.
Well, yeah, he's sitting there eating ramen like, I'm not doing this shit. This is all grunt work to me. Is what it felt like to me.
Kinda. Well, he's really screwed. And I wasn't sure again how I was going to like the character.
Yeah.
Because the blind assassin has been done before. Washed out assassin has been done before. But never a washed out, depressed assassin that looks and more or less behaves like Roy Orbison and kills as flamboyantly as Sugar Ray Leonard boxes. He was awesome. Like, such a conundrum of weird things that he was that made this character just alive and weird and fun to watch.
Yeah, it stood out clear as day, and it showed how equivalent he was to John Wick. Like, we've seen guys who could go toe to toe with John Wick. This is the first guy who you really felt maybe this guy could take out John Wick. And they had a clear friendship from before. They've known each other for years. They both thought each other was retired. Apparently not anymore. They both had something they were fighting for, and Kane was fighting because he was trying to keep his daughter alive more than anything. They threatened that shit. It's like, because when they handed him the card at the beginning, and he took the card off the silver platter, and he's reading Wick, and he's just like, "Oh, you motherfuckers want me to kill him? Fuck!"
Right?
He's like, "Oh no! I'm not doing this." He even tried to say that, like, "I'm not doing this. Find somebody else." And they pulled the, "You're not retired. You still work for the table. We give you a name. You take a name, or we take a name." And it's like, oh, you bastards.
Yeah, he had no love for them whatsoever. Like, he's a bad guy that's on the good guys team. And he's very fascinating in that regard.
Yeah, it was a very complex role. And I thought Donnie was absolutely fantastic. Acting, performance-wise, just absolutely ass-kicking-wise, choreography, everything. He had all the tics, like his little quirks going on. It was just fantastic through and through. And he was just so suave. I'm like, that's the Donnie Yen I've been waiting to see for years in American cinema. Because he's he's fantastic. I got a lot of his Asian movies in my collection, and they're awesome. He's so good.
I haven't seen any of them. I'm well aware of them. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
I need
And
to
I'm not going to
correct
say you
that.
need to see like Shanghai Nights or Rush Hour or whatever. Those don't really showcase them the way like this movie does.
No. But God, now I'm stuck on Shanghai Nights, you dick.
You are welcome. And that's my first 0 Point at about 15 minutes in.
Oh, goddamn. Roy!
Derailment City.
Yeah, it's goddamn Owen Wilson movies. And I'm sorry to Mr. Yen for that. Like, he just totally went to Owen Wilson. I'm sorry. He's awesome in this. This is my first experience seeing him, and to your point, I want to go through and see those other films that he's more well known for that aren't the Americanized shitty versions of kung fu flicks.
Yeah, I mean, he's fun in a lot of the movies I see him in. It's just some of the American movies are just not nearly as good or showcase him the way he should have been showcased. But that's all good. I mean, he plays very well off of like Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I mean, I've seen him in quite an array of movies, so he's very versatile. I'm so happy like he finally got a movie like this this movie just makes me scream like, give me my Kane movie. That's all I want. Give me a young Kane movie. You could still do it with him. It's okay. It would work. Just saying. Or even a current day Kane, and he didn't really die at the end. That'd be cool too.
Yeah, right. Something.
Well, I did not think Akira was actually going to take him out at the end, even though she was being super sneaky and suave.
Really?
I think she would get the one hit in, but beyond that, she's got to make that count. If she misses him or doesn't get him just right, she's going to get her neck snapped and everything else broken before he hits the ground.
Maybe.
Like, she needed to get him in the heart or in like the neck or something.
Yes.
But we never see what happens. You could easily go into a John Wick 5 and find out what really happens.
Well, yeah. To your point, seeing the Kane movie, the really interesting thing that he says that like could make its own dope ass flick is someone made the comment about the table taking his eyes, and he said, no, they didn't take my eyes. I gave them my eyes. That's fucking interesting.
Well, it goes back to John Wick giving his finger. They didn't ask for it. He took it off himself. I mean, they said which finger it needed to go, but Wick took it off, and the Harbinger took his own off as well. So he was in that position before as well.
Exactly.
Played by who, Kevin?
Lex Luthor. I mean, Clancy Brown.
The Kurgan motherfucker.
Yes.
Highlander.
I love him so much. I was going to put up a picture of Lex Luthor underneath that, but no.
Yep.
That was also going to be a Days of Our Lives jokes, but again, no, too easy.
The sand flows through the hourglass. So are the moments of John Wick 4.
That's true. McDonald Garrett is somewhere looking down at me going, pussy, I would have made the joke.
When I saw this movie, I didn't know he was in it. I wasn't even paying attention to like opening credits or nothing. And when he strolls in as Harbinger, I'm like, okay, you automatically scored like 100 bonus points with me right off. And he had a great role too. He even called the Marquis out at one point. He's like, you idiot kid, what are you doing? You're playing these duel games and you're playing all these games. You're fucking around and you're gonna pay for it. He tried to warn him, and he got his.
Yeah, and the Harbinger was not sorry to see him die at the end.
He was just like, huh. All right. Well, we're done here today. You get what you wanted. You get what you wanted. And you get what you wanted, Winston. And all right, I'm out of here. I love how he's just like, and we're done here. And he just walks right off like a boss. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, like a supervisor, like close up your suitcase.
Like, we're good.
Bye-bye.
Yep. You are free. You are free. Your daughter's free. You're free. You get your hotel back. It's like, who else wanted something? You better say something now because I'm out of here in like a minute. I got a plane to catch you.
And for as scary as I'm sure that character is meant to be, Clancy played him so likable.
Oh, yeah.
Authoritative, sure, but fair and likable. Like, he was cool to everybody that unless he had to be a dick and scary, he wasn't.
Well, I even like how John Wick, when he first met him, when they were discussing the terms of the duel and the challenge, and he walks right up and they look right at each other, and there seemed to be a nod of respect, like, I know who you are. Okay, I will behave. I will not kill this guy in front of you, because he knows probably what would happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that and the whole fealty thing, gotta be like, friends, same side. Yep. Our fingers are both in the same jar of wherever.
Throw them digits up, yo. Throw them digits up.
Which, may I just say, they did manage to fuck up the beginning with the other one who sits above the table. Like, it's a totally different dude who had no entourage whatsoever.
They were all killed.
Oh, is that who he was?
That's killing? Who John Wick was hunting down and killing.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just killing people who were chasing him already. That guy was not as convincing as the first gentleman in the third movie.
Well, the way they explained what happened with that is that elder is no longer around at all, and he is the replacement. So he's the new one who sits above the table, and so he's pretty much the successor to whoever that guy was in the third movie. So we were getting a new guy. Anyway, I'm not sure why. It would have been fine just to bring the other guy back and just kind of wrap it up nice and neat with a bow tie, but there might have been a problem with contracts or something was happening with him scheduling wise. I don't know. I didn't really look into that, but I understand how you can feel like that's not the same guy. What's going on? I only caught that like this time around, because in theaters, I never caught that little exchange of, when you met my predecessor and you swore fealty, he's talking about, I am not the same guy you met. I am not that same person you met before. I am somebody new. Killing me is not going to stop anything. The machine keeps going. What this movie does, in my opinion, is it sets up for us to have an all-out battle with the table and finally seeing who the table is and what they can do. Because if we're getting a John Wick 5, and I don't know if we should, but I'm not going to say we don't, because I would love to see it. My guess is if there's John Wick 5, we've heard the rumors, we've heard the news, there's going to be a John Wick 5. They better be fighting the fucking table, or what are you doing here? Like, how can you get any bigger than what we've already seen? I mean, I say that every movie, and they keep doing it. So it's like, I'm not going to say they can't do it, but like, how much more can you do without getting into Fast and the Furious territory?
Yeah.
Like, how much? When is it too much? Like, I know, like, the runtime for this movie scares people quite a bit, but the movie fits it. What are you going to do at the table? Have a 5-hour movie? That ain't going to fly.
No, but that would kind of be cool. I mean, kind of. I mean, like this.
I'd be game, but there better be an intermission for that kind of stuff. Anything more than like 3.5 hours, I had a hard time enough with Return of the King in the theaters at like almost 4.
I have to pee.
I think everybody had to pee at the end of that movie.
Yeah, I did. And I think I saw it twice.
I know at the end of that, Zero.Point. At the end of that movie, literally 2/3 of that theater emptied into the restroom. And I mean that in many different ways.
Right?
I know. Toilet humor right here on 0-Point Reviews.
That's our bread and butter, god damn it. We're talking about having to pee now. The runtime didn't bother me. I know I mentioned last week and the week before, like, I'd be skittish in movies like this, because my experience in an extremely long 3-hour action flick is Pirates of the Caribbean 3,
Yeah.
2 and 3, and that was just a really long movie, just one long movie. And it wasn't done well like this was. This didn't feel way too long. Now, I will be honest, John fights like from point A to point B, which is almost the entire film. There's like 5 little seconds where he's not killing somebody in this movie.
Well, I like how they split up the action too. So it didn't feel like it was just him fighting all the time. We got fight scenes with Kane against a bunch of people. We got Mr. Nobody fighting against people. Then we had them all fighting each other, and then all over the place, and then against each other. So it was kind of like a little triangle of yin yang going on. And then you had like, Bill's superior security guard who got his nuts nibbled off at the end. But
oh, that guy.
He's the one I cannot remember the character name of. The Marquis, basically first lieutenant or whatever.
Yeah, the guy
Mr. Goatee.
To catch an arrow with his forearm.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's dope.
The hell was his name? I don't even have it here. I don't. Anyway, but yeah, him catching that thing in his arm was something else.
That was.
I wanted to think that it was the armor, their special suits, but no, I think he just really caught that son of a bitch with his forearm, and just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, I'll keep shooting.
I think it's Cheaty.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I see the actor who plays, I think that's him. So, yep, the character name is Cheaty.
Where is he? I have a spot of him here somewhere. Ah, yes, here. That was the only really good picture of him that I got. No, it's not, but that was his just desserts.
Oh yeah.
But no, here he is catching that arrow. And not to get too far ahead, but this was a dope scene that him catching that wasn't the most believable part for me.
He got shot with it. He didn't exactly catch it.
That's what, yeah. I was being polite. Polite, yes. Subtle.
Sure you are.
Shut up. No, he was a good enough character. I liked him as a lieutenant. He wasn't bad at all. He could fucking go toe to toe with everybody. Like,
God, that was pretty impressive.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He almost felt like he was like a Terminator. He kept getting knocked down and right back up.
Yeah, really. And again, I know these suits are awesome, but damn.
Like they could take some wicked car impacts, I'll tell you that.
He got was he one of the people that got dragged for God knows how long? Like just about everything happened to him.
Just about everything happened to John Wick too, I'll tell you that. He got hit by no less than like 5 cars, fell out of like multiple story buildings like twice. Like one in the dance club, he at least fell like a story, and then towards the end he falls like 3 or 4 stories onto like this cargo van or whatever, and he lands on the ground. I'm like, how do you not have a broken back?
That fucking the stairs where he gets to the top, fighting like Rocky.
That would have sucked, dude.
And then to get thrown down. I didn't know how long that scene was going to take.
Any longer, and Benny Hill music would have started playing. It was actually well timed.
It was much longer than the Exorcist stair scene.
Yeah,
a lot longer.
A lot.
And then he's got to get way the fuck back up there.
But that's when Kane shows up and he's like, "Are you going up there or not?" Which was pretty funny.
Yeah, like where is it? Is it? Yeah, right here. Not a remotely good shot of the stairs because there's like what, 7, 8 versions.
222 steps.
Get out. Holy shit.
Yep.
And he got to roll down each and every single one of them 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. That was
bastard.
wild. That one made me cringe because I'm like, ooh, how do you not break an arm, break a leg, snap your neck, end up with a million bruises? How do you just how? I don't know that I could withstand like the falling from 3-story buildings onto a minivan rather than him rolling down 222 steps and not killing himself that way.
I had Eddie Murphy stuck in my head the entire time, going, my shoe.
That's funny.
Like I really wanted to see his shoe off at the end.
My legs, they grew back.
Shit, they're backwards like this. No, you're right. Like the neck snapping thing would have been the biggest part. I mean, he was taking it like a champ going down sideways and whatnot. But
Yeah.
damn, your back would have been broken. Your ribs would have been destroyed. You would have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Tenderized for cooking.
Yep. Hannibal would have been happy.
Yeah, like you would have been ready to just boil.
Pretty much. But amazing action and fight scenes throughout this movie from the word go. And they keep like escalating too. It's like you think one is pretty awesome, and then they just keep getting bigger and better and badder as you go along through the movie. It's like, oh my God, when's it going to stop? It's almost like, holy shit, when are we going to slow down for a minute and breathe? Well, when they finally get to the duel, it all slows down just enough to allow the final climax to really hit strong.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, that building with the overhead shots going through each of the rooms and fighting and the shooting and everything was just like, dude, what the fuck? This is crazy. It's just wild. I just was blown away. Amazing camera work. I couldn't even spot. I could maybe spot an edit here and there, but I couldn't be very precise with that. It's just me guessing.
Yeah. They were really good with their camera work. And like there was stuntmen in this movie that died 20 times each.
Oh, easy. Easy. Oh, but I'm on fire. Pulls me off. I got to go back in like 20 seconds in another room.
I got to get stabbed.
Jesus.
But that scene there, that was kind of beautiful in its way. I mean, the choreography into itself is beautiful. Right. But the fact that it looked just like a bird's eye view video game was cool as shit. It wasn't 8-bit, but it was cool as shit.
Yeah, I'll say, like, incredible visually. And it didn't really feel like it was all that, like, I don't know, out of the realm of being like, hey, we would normally see this eye level. Seeing it from above, and they're still the actors just doing their thing, is just, wow, that's an incredible, like, I would like to watch some of the making ofs to see how they did some of these shots.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to do. Well, in regard to making this like a video game, this works perfectly great. Why couldn't they have done shit like this with other fucking video game movies?
I don't know.
This isn't supposed to be that.
Well, that kind of shot would work exceedingly well in a Resident Evil if they ever get around to making a real Resident Evil adaptation. I mean, and I like the very first Resident Evil movie, and I know it has nothing to do with Resident Evil games. It doesn't even touch them. The sequels are like completely, they're not even in the same convo. But like, unless you're talking about the Resident Evil animated movies, I mean, I think something like that overhead shot with zombies and shit going on and a whole lot of action would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, something like that, or even Metal Gear Solid. Yep. Metal Gear does the same thing.
That's a really good point, because if they follow through with some of the rumors we've been hearing about Henry Cavill being in Metal Gear Solid, then that would be a great idea for doing overhead shots. Like, take this as a model, do your own thing with it though. And I think that would be pretty awesome. You can hide in a box and throw an exclamation point over his head too while you're at it. They won't do it. They won't go that comic-y. I'm just saying that'd be pretty funny though.
Why the game does? God damn, in part 4, there's a box that had a sign that says no place for Hideo.
Watch them do that. Watch them do that in a fan edit. Like they'll have them jump in a box, but somebody will end up doing a fan edit and throwing a ding above the box.
That would be funny as shit.
Yeah.
I bet Henry Cavill will be in John Wick 5. They'll have to get somebody like him because they always escalate their actors in these movies, and he's
we keep going
one of those hot commodities.
Yeah,
I don't know. Was Bill Skarsgård up for you? Like,
up enough. We got enough across the board because he was sharing like villain duties with Kane at times and Chidi at times. And the fact he was representing the table and he had all those resources at his disposal, that kind of made you feel like he is a step up. But as far as like physical intimidation, dude doesn't look like he could withstand the point of a number 2 pencil.
Yeah, kind of. Although he did manage to stab Tracker in the hand. That was...
Yep.
That made me a couple times because I was trying to get a shot of it, so I had to rewind it 7 times.
Yeah.
And I had to take off the earbuds, or not the earbuds, the cans, so I didn't have to hear the flesh tearing each time.
Oh God, that was wild. But that also goes back to when we were talking about like why he chose knives and like swords, that sort of thing. Like he showed a time or two. He was proficient with a knife pretty quick. So maybe that was his thing. Well, I guess we'll never know because he got his head shot the fuck off. But I liked how Kane, he took a number 2 pencil and in a particular scene, he used it like John Wick would. Oh, there you go. My God, Gene, that's an illegal foreign object. We need a gorilla monsoon next to him going, that's not right, Jesse.
You make me sick.
How could you? I'm ashamed of you.
No, and he stuck that pencil right in that dude's head.
Oh, like, yeah.
Oh,
that was brutal.
A magic trick that the Joker knows. Shit.
Oh, I love that in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I got a little magic trick to show you. I don't have somebody's head to replicate that with, so.
All I have is my root beer bottle and a baseball for my back. So
I have a Crow Funko, but I like these, so I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah, no. Sorry, y'all. Oh wait.
Uh-oh.
I have a pumpkin. Prop for next month, I guess. I don't know.
Pretty much. We're gonna have some fun October movies for everybody, so stay tuned for that. We did announce our schedule, so it's out there.
The rest of the year is pretty stacked, folks. We got some good shit coming.
Yep, we just gotta finalize our December schedule at some point, and that'll be it for the rest of the year.
Oh my God. I made a picture of it, but I left it out. There was a scene where they first go to Osaka, and they had this giant mural of a crab up on this building.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to point out and be like, this movie has crabs. Not my most mature moment, but at least I decided not to go with it.
Nah, but did you like the Osaka parts? Because I thought that was beautiful, like the cherry tree on top of cherry blossom tree on top of the hotel and everything.
I almost used that or stole the color from that scene for the logos, but I was like, no, it's too much like the second one.
That Amazon exclusive has a very nice lenticular cover of that cherry blossom tree, which is on an unboxing video on this channel.
That's
so
true.
Go check that out. You could still get this. It's not horrifically expensive or terribly limited.
That's cool. That's very groovy.
Yep. It's one of my favorite editions. That's the only one I've opened so I could watch the movie. So
Now, what what did you feel like seeing his family for the first time? The actual family.
oh, the Ruska family?
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. I mean, I liked how intimidating some of them were.
Yes.
I am Klaus.
I am Klaus.
Don't forget to slap.
The
I'm
finger
Klaus.
That guy was just amazing. Like formidable, terrifying, and would not want to ever meet that dude.
Nope.
Anywhere.
The only words he spoke were, I am Klaus. It's like, I am Groot, but way more weirder.
Now, his cousin, though, she had some choices of wardrobe, I think. Like, is that a chrome snakeskin suit? Like Nick Cage called, wants that outfit back.
I'll just wait. Maybe he'll be in John Wick 5.
Oh, God, that would be cool.
Now that would be interesting. Let the guessing game continue. Anybody got a favorite idea for John Wick 5? Put that comment below. I'd like to hear it.
I'm with you, and I would like to see the table at this point.
You talk about him enough during 4 movies.
Yeah.
Can't keep sending the bitch boy. At some point, somebody's going to have to take care of it themselves.
They're going to have to do something different at this point, because the 4th movie is the first time in the franchise where I've been like, okay, that was actually kind of stupid. They do a couple things in this movie where I'm kind of like, we're going to suspend disbelief. Oh, God, what was one of the things? I had things written down that were stupid.
Liar.
The Marquis was one of them. Like the character of the Marquis was one of them. The having a different one character, that to me I felt was like, you're just making that up on the spot. No, really. We vote. That part was kind of stupid. God, I know I had shit written down there. I was kind of like, it's not the most exciting thing. I don't know. We'll find it as we go along. But
yeah,
there were parts of this movie where it was starting to feel redundant. Oh, wait, here we are. That's right. This guy hanging out, looking around, not being noticeable at all. Like, this guy was kind of like, okay, he's a caricature. And the lieutenant that you talked about, the guy that took the arrow to the arm, was to a point of a caricature. So, I mean, there were things where it wasn't as good as the second or third. And I don't mean that in a completely derogatory way. I don't mean it was stupid bad. It's just kind of like it didn't gel well for me.
Yeah, I can see your thoughts on that. I would say there are some kind of pullbacks for me as well. I do feel like the Marquis could have been a little more physically intimidating, like shown that he actually could handle himself in a fight, other than playing like a chicken shit heel and like wrestling, always running and having everybody else do his dirty work. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen more of him being a little more like, I can do this, I choose not to, instead of I really don't wanna. I still like the character. I still like how it all played out, but I would have preferred something a little more out of his role. And then you could have had, his Lieutenant Cheaty. He could have been done a little bit differently. And then you had a lot of new characters being introduced in this movie that could have been condensed a little bit, could have tightened up the movie. I don't have a problem with the runtime. You could have cut a little bit out and tightened it up about 5 or 10 minutes down, and I think you would have gotten a little bit of a tighter movie. But I have no complaints. This would have been an extended director's cut anyway, and so I enjoy it. Where I would rank it, I don't know, and that is going to be my next question for you: is where would you rank this amongst the 4 John Wick movies so far?
I was gonna save it for the end. This
We
movie.
could save it for the end.
All right, all right. I
So stay tuned, people.
spent all day thinking about this, but
Clearly.
I wanted to get back to what you asked me. Like a very good example of what I thought was stupid in this movie. This scene here, like,
Oh, the Euro dancing again. Yep. I had a feeling you were going to be like, nope, not doing it this time either.
it's worse this time. It's fucking stupid. Look at that fucking guy. Like, look.
Yeah, that one in the corner just sticks out like a sore thumb. Oh, but the dancers in the background, totally okay, man.
Why? Like, we had that in the second, third.
It's petty. It's what they do.
They don't do that on the Continental. I'll just say that.
Well, the Continental is set in a different era.
Yeah, thank God for that. Well, they.
No, I'm not gonna justify the Euro trash scene. It wasn't really needed, but they gave a great fight to John Wick or Keanu and Scott Adkins in that scene though. That was pretty funny. Seeing him in a freaking like fat suit was like, oh my God, he's actually not that fat. What are you doing? He's actually pretty jacked.
That's awesome.
He would have been intimidating enough on his own, but Scott Adkins is on record saying he had a lot of fun doing that role.
Oh, I bet. Dig this. Speaking of large and mobile, that gun is so obscenely big that I felt the necessity to blur it. Like, I felt really awkward showing it on the show.
So big, dude. Oh.
And
he did it with one hand.
Yeah,
he one-handed that bastard.
But did you see that? Oh shit, no,
dude, that chamber is so huge.
The fight scenes that this guy was in, like, at first you're kind of like, okay, he's an actor. They got just whatever big guy that they could. No, this guy fucking moves like Wilson Fisk. Kids at home, if you need to know who that is, that's the kingpin of crime in the comic books. Who's not fat, he's muscular.
It just looks like he's fat.
Yeah, and this guy moved just as well as John Wick. Like, he got his kicks high up in the air, spinning all sorts of fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
But with that big gun.
You think like, oh God, this is like some real version of Fat Bastard from the Austin Powers movies. And like within like seconds, you're like, oh, this guy's fucking twisted and he can fight? What the hell?
Yeah, and this is the guy that John's supposed to kill for his cousin, because he's the one that killed her uncle, or killed his uncle, her dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uncle Peter.
Yeah.
Can I see Peter? Can I see Uncle Peter? And then he gets shot with a shotgun.
Oh, that was awesome. The shotgun blasts in these movies were fantastic. Better than the first one because they were using dragon's breath. But this here, when he was finally beating and killing just beating the guy, I didn't realize at first what he was doing. Yeah. Like, he fell with the massive weight of his entire body down 2 flights of stairs. He's not alive. And it's like, oh, wait, that's right. He needs the gold teeth. And he gives it to his cousin.
And she's just like, all right, I will smelt this down.
Yeah. And I was a little afraid of her at first with the chrome snakeskin. But right here, I was kind of like, I'm interested, though. I'm interested.
John's cousin is kind of hot in the 2 smoking packs a day kind of way. That's pretty funny.
Definitely worth the HPV at the end of the day.
Woohoo!
But yeah,
it's got a type. Just saying.
Easy. Everybody has a type. Easy, and it's all the same easy. Anyway.
I go Akira.
Have you seen
the concierge of the Osaka Continental?
I would have liked to have seen her get a little bit more time, but I understand why they didn't give it to her. I don't believe she is a martial arts trained person or trained actor.
She did just enough in this movie.
Yeah, but again, Lance Reddick and he's not a martial arts trained person either, so
no,
I can't turn my nose at that at all. But she is a musician, and if you look up her picture in IMDb,
NSFW, everybody.
it's not. It's really
I'm
not.
kidding.
It's not.
It's well, apparently Kevin's not kidding.
No, I'm not going to show it, but it kind of makes you go, is that? It is Leggy LaRue. It's a very attractive picture.
Well, and I thought she did very well in this movie.
Yeah. Her look of menace and vengeance is appropriate. So like if she is going to continue a career in acting, she's going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is just going to be a breakout type movie for her.
I think for a lot of people that were new actors for an audience in this movie, a lot of their eyes got open to, I want to see them in this role. I want to see them in that role. I want to see them in this role.
That's true.
This is like that kind of ticket, like that'll raise everybody's stock. You don't need to raise Keanu, Larry, Winston, Ian McShane. You don't have to raise their cred. They already got top cred. This is like, hey, let's bring up some of these other people. They're pretty good too. Let's get them up there. And this movie did it. And unfortunately, it was a swan song for Lance Reddick.
So I was wrong, obviously, about him having scenes for the Continental. That's a prequel, and he will not have scenes in that at all. But he did film scenes in the ballerina.
Yes.
Although I don't know if he completed everything for the ballerina.
That I don't know either.
Be very curious to see. I do want to see him in this. They did, of course, give him a dedication card in the credits,
which was very cool of them to do, because that happened just before the movie came out. So they went back and they put that in after the fact, after the movie was already completed,
already in the theaters. Actually, I want to say the cans, for lack of a better term, were on their way to the theaters when he'd passed, and they'd redone everything after the fact.
Right.
But his shot here of being killed was stunning. Like you almost saw it coming, but didn't want to believe it.
Right. I'm like, man, you guys did him dirty, but
yeah, because McShane tells him you have the faith of David, but you really ought not to be here.
Right.
And my God, does he give a performance here where it's like you see his tenderness and passion for his friend as he's passing, but you could see the vengeance in his eyes at the same time. And Winston's character gets definition here for sure.
This, I think, was Winston's best turn since the first movie, in my opinion, was this movie.
He was fun in the last one, but this is where he's orchestrating things and really doing what he does.
Right. And I like how he constantly tries to put the Marquis at his place at almost every chance he can to just turn the screws a little bit more.
Yes, and with a smile at the same time.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you didn't know, you don't remember the old ways. The Marquis is just like, the hell with the old ways. It's the new ways, old man. It's like that kind of attitude was just like, dude, you are gonna get your head shot off later. I can't wait to see that now.
I was glad it wasn't as good as the horse kicking somebody's head off, but I was glad that he got killed horribly.
Yeah.
Bill is great. He's a fantastic actor.
Oh yeah.
And the Marquis is just a loathsome little tool.
Yeah.
And he brought him to life so well.
I felt so as well. Now, what did you think of Mr. Nobody and his faithful companion? Because I really enjoyed that. He's a brand new character in this movie, and I'm like, you had a character Nobody in the Nobody movie with Bob Odenkirk. maybe you could have put Bob in this role. I don't know. That would have been better. Just my point. But they don't really share a universe. It's just made by the same people who did John Wick. That's all.
Oh, okay.
But that Nobody movie is pretty dope too.
I didn't mind him. Actually, I like him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what they were doing with him for most of the movie. Like at first, it seemed like he was there to help John. Obviously he wasn't. He was trying to keep John alive until he got to kill him, so he'd get the money.
He wanted to raise his value as much as he possibly could, because in his book he had a chart for, I'm looking for about 40 million right here. I'll keep him alive until we get to that dollar amount. Then I will take care of him.
We'll take care of him.
But as we would find out, he could not take care of him. And when his dog was in jeopardy of its life, John Wick didn't shoot him. He shot the guy who was going after his dog. He shot at Chidi and kept him from killing his dog. I think that was the moment in his head. He's like, well, shit, I can't kill him now. Fuck. I owe him one.
Oh, and what he said to Chidi before he fucked him up was amazing.
Nuts.
You hit my doggy.
You shot my puppy.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking blasts his head off, and then the dog pees on him. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
Bravo. And see,
I remember the theater was just like dying laughing with that scene. It's like, yep, the dog got it, got the last word in.
Well, this poor dog kills just about everything and keeps going after the things that Tracker kills, and keeps like gnawing at the fucking bodies and like trying to get the legs off and the arms and the crotches.
It's like they took a lesson from chapter 3, and they're like, hey, let's make it one dog and make him more like a slasher movie villain, because he pops out of shadows sometimes, and suddenly you hear that growl and you're like, oh, because Chidi, he looks over trying to get to his gun, and you hear the dog just with a little easy snarl growl. And then he looks at him and he goes, oh shit. And then the dog gets even like ready. He just nuts.
Nuts. Look at her face though.
She looks so sweet.
I love that tongue too.
Oh, such a good girl.
Everybody at home's probably like, get the fuck on with it, Smith.
Yeah, get back to the movie, you idiots. No.
Yeah, we like the dog. No, I did. I really liked her fight scenes, and you're right. She is condensed down in from Hallie's 2 dogs into the one. Did not need a vest, although I liked the vests on the first 2 dogs.
Oh yeah, that was pretty dope.
And I have an actual action shot of the dog here that I'm missing somewhere.
While you're looking for that, did you ever check out the Dog Wick short on the very first John Wick movie?
No.
They actually have or is it the second movie? They have the dog with a gun running around because they killed his human being, and he shoots everybody up.
He shoots his human being.
He shoots all the human beings that took out his human. It's super funny.
Oh, here it is.
It's a very short clip, but it's funny.
Here it is. Golly, like he was just having a meal down there. And that was not the only person that he did that to. This was just one of the shots that
One of many.
But see, this is actually pretty awesome. Like they're working in tandem, just like they did, or Halle Berry did in the last film.
Yeah.
With the canine, the dog goes after the nuts, as you said. The guy sits up. Tracker's able to get him right in the head. Double tap.
Yep.
Actually,
and then the dog keeps jerking on it.
Keep eating the nuts.
Or tugging, whatever. I mean, that's literally what he's doing. He's not letting go with the teeth, and it's like until I'm told I got to stop, I'm going to keep on killing.
I'm going to keep on killing. Oh no, but I dug Tracker. I dug the dog. I dug that.
He did the beer thing. Yeah,
because some people might kind of frown at this, but dogs and cats really like beer. They do.
We crack a beer open here. Our dog comes running and is like, I get something too, you know. It's like, oh God, yes, you can have a little chew bone from the other room. So whenever we crack open a soda or a beer or something in this house, she gets a treat too.
That's
so
awesome.
she has now unfortunately been trained to know the sound of a can opening. It's treat time.
Treat time.
Yep. She does that with energy drinks too. And I'm like, I am not giving you anything when I'm cracking this open early in the morning.
Going back to the first Resident Evil movie, when I bought that and was watching it with my old roommate, our cat was sitting on my lap and we were drinking the hell out of White Russians. And I looked down and the cat had his face like in the cup.
Oh no. Because of the cream. Yeah.
And I was like, you fucker. And I didn't see him for the rest of the night. He went and passed out somewhere. Another time he did the same thing when I had like a bottle of beer kind of on my chest and he was lying on my chest. He had his nose in the bottle. It's like, stop.
Get off my beer. Get your own.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I don't drink much anymore. So this dog doesn't get any of my stuff.
Yeah. Because you deal with the good stuff. Root beer.
Root beer. I get mad when anyone goes near my root beer. Kids aren't allowed near that.
Kevin Wick. Stay away from
have
my
the
root
beer. I probably let my kids have a swig of beer so they learn the lesson not to drink beer. Like, that's really the best thing you could do.
Okay.
Like, look, do you want to be like, oh, it's going to taste great? It doesn't. It doesn't taste great. It tastes like ass when you're a kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I was a kid, my dad took me to a racetrack. Yeah, 0.Point, whatever. It'll be over in a minute. My dad took me to a racetrack as a kid, Michigan Speedway, NASCAR event. He took me with my grandfather. We were hanging out in the parking lot. Somebody had a Mia soda. Looked like a Pepsi to me. Proved to be Pepsi Blue Ribbon.
Oh, blah.
I knew the colors looked a little strange, but I was a little young to understand that it was not until I took a sip. I'm like, Daddy, this tastes funny. He turns and he looks at me. I remember this. I don't remember much else from this young of an age, but he looks down. He's like, no, who gave my son a fucking beer? He takes it and he hands me a Pepsi. He's like, are you okay? Did you like that? I'm like, not really. He's like, you will eventually.
Yeah, it's got to be a certain temperature outside. You've got to be so tired, and then it's going to taste good.
Well, it's got to be a good beer. It can't be a Pabst Blue Ribbon. And we just probably lost 100 subscribers. Sorry, not sorry.
In Canada,
PBR is not that great, to be frank.
Millennials, I don't know. The last time I saw Doug Benson, there was like a line of millennials sitting in front of me, and they were all drinking PBR, and I'm just kind of like, it smells like skunk piss in here, not in the good way. Like,
yeah, I'm more for local breweries, so just for the forewarning or explanation on that, I like supporting local breweries. And around here in Phoenix, yeah, we got quite a few. We got Santan, we got Huss, we got some really awesome places. Helva is a great place, great burgers. So if you're around Phoenix, go to Helva Brewing Company.
I dig that. Kev has a tender tummy, so he doesn't drink a whole lot anymore, but stuff. Thanks.
We have now concluded the sponsorship program of this show. Thank you for following us on all of our brew talk, food talk, everything talk, dog talk,
crabs talk, dog talk, dog giving head talk. That's what that was.
Well, John Wick for you.
I'm going to get us back on track. So the scene where he's giving the dog beer, where they're supposed to be watching the the duel, they're very much not there, and it's very evident he's not there. Like, they should not have even bothered shooting that. It looked silly.
Yeah, I think they're representing the audience because they're fresh to this whole high table concept stuff too. So just like, that was pretty good. I think they're doing like the audience reaction to a bunch of noobs that are there for the first time.
This is how you feel. Uh, probably right, actually. But I didn't dislike it.
No,
If
it
anything,
just
I
felt
felt like it was like a moment of COVID. Like that's when that was filmed, and that's why it was filmed. I
well.
don't
That's
know.
the perfect example of like things you could have clipped out and tightened the movie up just a tick. Things
Yeah.
like that are just you didn't need that 20 seconds. I
Well,
mean, it's funny. You pour the beer. Okay, that's cool. You don't have to go back to it again. You could have cut both those out. You not really necessary to the plot, like at all. But I don't really have a problem with it. So it's kind of the good and the bad.
yeah, it's one of those times where it's like it is enjoyable, so you can't really begrudge it for adding to the time of the movie. You really can't, because
But in
I
a
know.
critical eye, it's like, yeah, but that also didn't need to be there either. So it's like, fan critic. Okay, whatever. Like the scales of justice.
I can't lie, this sucks ass, but I love it so much.
Sounds like half the movies we watch. I'm kidding. We watch some pretty fun movies.
Oh goodness. Well, yeah, we watch pretty fun movies. We don't always watch really good movies. This, I'm not going to call this a bad movie. John Wick is not a bad franchise by any means. It's not one of those franchises where it's like made for dumb people that don't want to think very much, like Van Damme movies or Seagal movies. Most of them. This was a smart adventure, and I think an adventure that's just beginning. I know you were talking about that as well. Like this this universe is expanding to where it doesn't need just John Wick to survive. It doesn't need just Winston to survive. There are colonials all over the world. There are assassins all over the world. We're just seeing this one particular legend of them. And now, because again, John Wick 5 will happen, I'm sure. But when John is done, when they finally feel that he's at peace, this world is way too big and way too interesting to just leave behind.
Yeah. And I can see them like actually killing the character on screen at some point. Because it's like, where else do you go with his character? He can't kill the entire world. And he's killed so many people, like there's no way he could live like in peace.
Not with that attitude, he can't. Jeez.
Yeah, no can do attitude.
I don't know. Go gardening or some shit. I hate always seeing the fucking good guy die in movies.
That's true. But you know, do we want to rank this? Because I think I would put this up there. I still think John Wick 1 is the best of the franchise, in my opinion. And I put this probably, you know, I really like all these movies, but for the honest critic in me, I'd probably put this in third. I'd do John Wick 1, John Wick 2, John Wick 4, then John Wick 3. So Parabellum would be third.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But I really enjoy all these movies. That's just the critic in me where I would go, John Wick 1's the best, though, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. John Wick 1 made you drop your jaw more often, I think. Well, no, I can't say that it made you drop your jaw more often. It
was the basic introduction to this character and this universe. Without that movie, it's basically like saying, oh, well, if you got rid of, which is your favorite of the Star Wars original trilogy? Well, most people would go with the second one. Some would go with the first one. It's just going to be one of those kind of arguments where, you know, some will like one more than the other. It's totally cool, however you would rank it.
And then one guy said Return of the Jedi.
And then nobody took him serious ever again.
The Ewok movie. Battle over Endor. Ooh.
They must have watched the Endor movies. Oh no. Oh no. And the one person that says the holiday special. What are you talking about? What holiday special?
We don't.
That we have all seen, but wish we had not seen.
Oh, my friend showed it to me a few years back. And we were both drinking. And yeah, that's how you got through that. And I don't even know if we watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
but it was more than I watched of the riff tracks, and the riff tracks does make it much better, but I still didn't want to see any of that ever again.
Oh, funny.
And I'm sorry to riff tracks, because that is one of their better shows.
That's true.
Yeah.
But how would you rank the franchise?
So I went again with 1 first, as you said, and then I went with 3,
Okay.
4, and 2.
All right.
For whatever reason, 2 just didn't strike me as impressive on a scope as the 3rd and 4th movies did.
Okay.
And I think that's why. Parabellum was a lot weirder in the Euro trash. But I think it was less silly, a little bit more believable than this one was.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. And again, it's just little nitpicks I had with the 4th one that could make it after the 3rd. Not
each movie has its own nitpicks.
Yeah.
None of these are like 100% flawless in any sort of way. Doesn't take away from their overall enjoyment level. They're all freaking fun and awesome time to watch. It's just kind of fun to talk about. Like, so where would you rank this yourself? Hey, if anybody's got a favorite ranking, put it below. I would be curious to see what other people think.
I want to hear what everyone thinks about this one, because it is an interesting question. There's no wrong answer. Like they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not like saying, what's your favorite Resident Evil movie, where you're waiting for someone to say part 3. So you can be like, you don't know shit.
Or if somebody says part 5 and you're like, wow, you actually made it to the 5th one. Bonus points.
I think there's 6, aren't there?
Yes.
I just counted them today.
Well, and then they did Welcome to Raccoon City. So there's technically 7. I don't know if that's considered really that's more of a reboot more than anything, though.
Oh,
that one's okay.
Yeah, that one's not an Anderson movie.
No. Still same production company, though. Constantine Films.
Oh, that's cool. I guess.
So, yeah. Well, that's all right. I like the animated ones way better. I'd like to actually see like a John Wick animated series. That'd be pretty dope.
That would be dope. And eventually
do it in the style of like Eon Flux. So you know you have who you have to get to design that show then.
Yes. That would be cool.
Yeah.
See, that's another one of those shows where it's like the hero dies every time.
I know.
But at least she keeps
I just had to bring that up, I know. But
I don't know. I love these characters. Even the bad guys, like with the exception of Santino, you all really like.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride for sure.
Yeah, I want to keep seeing more of these. I want to keep seeing this universe expand. I really hope the Continental is as good as the first 17 minutes are, because that's really fun so far. I don't want this to be the last John Wick, though.
Yeah, I mean, if it were to be the last John Wick movie, it had a solid enough ending that I think this would be satisfying for a lot of people. I would be satisfied with it if this was the last one. And if we get a John Wick 5, we'll see what happens and see where we go and how hopefully we don't try and shoot a Fiero into space. I know I crack jokes about Fast and the Furious, but honestly, a Fiero in space, like, what the fuck?
He could bring his family anytime he wants. Like I said,
it's all about family. If you have one. Anyway, Kevin, got any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I do. If this is the final John Wick movie, if 5 doesn't happen, I really want to tell the cast, crew, and everybody involved, fuck y'all, you made me cry.
Winston got you at the end, didn't he?
I'm like, motherfuckers. This movie made me cry a lot, like mainly at the end, but there was a couple times where I'm just kind of like, oh, those sons of bitches. Like Sharon passing, him telling Winston telling John that he put friend for the epitaph. You're just kind of like, oh, my heart.
Yeah.
So there was enough emotion in this, just like it was in the first one, where you were still able to cry for John.
Yeah, you still feel the connection to his character, and a lot of credit to Keanu on that. He is this character. Finally, he got a movie franchise that really played to his strengths, and home run every time.
Yeah. There was nothing that he did in this movie where you're kind of like, meh, doesn't make the character that great. Everything he did in this movie made you love the character.
Right. And by comparison, and I sorry to bring this up, but to the Matrix movies, this is way more consistent, way more intelligent, way more Keanu, like real person Keanu, than that ever did for the Matrix. And I'm just so happy for him that he got this kind of universe. He's a producer on this series as well. So I'm so happy he finally got to this kind of role and away from like the Bill and Ted stuff, the Matrix stuff. Like I know those movies made money, but like I'm just so happy that this is a success for him and everybody else involved. Great writers, great directors, amazing casting crew all around. There's a lot of love in these movies and a lot of passion. It shows. It really. That's why these 4 movies are as great as they are. Whichever one you think is great, hey, that's completely up to you. It's a very subjective, way to look at these movies. Is one's better than the other. Sure. You can't deny that all these movies are very well consistently written, acted, and crafted. I mean, this is an amazing franchise. I'm super glad I got onto it, and I'm super glad we got to rewatch it and cover it for our show.
I'm glad that I got to see it, and I felt bad because my wife has been wanting to see 3 and 4, and she's like, "Oh, we could watch it together." No, we probably can't. And I've been wanting to watch it with her this week because I, again, wouldn't mind watching it another time.
Yeah.
Because it's really entertaining.
Yeah.
And she hasn't had the time. And I'm trying to explain to her, like, no, it's not just when the kids are at school. Like, it's a long fucking movie.
And I tried to warn you about that too. I'm like, this one's pretty close to 3 hours. It's like 2 hours and 49-ish minutes.
Yeah. And I felt every single minute of it like, oh my God, kill him faster. But not because the movie was dragging. It was just because of the way I watched the movie, taking notes, making pictures, all that shit takes 2 days.
God, I wrote down a summation down here. I wasn't sure if I was going to like read it or not, but I'm like, where did I put it? No, I'm not going to read that. That's okay. Okay. I wrote like this movie is like the one of the best sex you've ever had in your life, and you're waking up in the morning and you're like, shit, I got ran over by a bus.
I need to hydrate.
Yep.
This movie is kind of like that. No, it's good. It's good.
It's like the best sex you ever had, and then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, it's over.
But during that time, did you prove your fealty?
Yes, I did. I did not lose my digit.
Oh God, I love this shit. I mean, I had a couple jokes about it, but this was a fun flick. All of them are fun flicks, and this one was no disappointment. My kill of choice though was where he finds these nunchucks or gets thrown into these nunchucks.
Yeah.
And you're expecting to see some crazy ass fucking martial art madness. And he throws it right at this guy's fucking head.
With pretty good accuracy.
Knocks him right the fuck out. And that's hysterical to me because I have that exact type of fucking nunchucks. And I guarantee you, they hurt every single time they hit your head.
Yep.
And they hurt every time you get yourself in the bone, like the forearm, your shin. The only place it doesn't really hurt is the stomach.
Right.
Yeah. But they had some great nunchuck kills in this movie where you just bludgeon the hell out of people with it.
Michelangelo would be proud.
A fellow chucker.
Fellow chucker. Nice.
All right. Well, did you get that? Did you get any of the marquee watched? You gonna go do that tonight?
The what watched?
The marquee. Now you can go ahead and edit all that. The Continental.
No, I'm not going to cut anything out. That's how I do these 0 points. I just got out like before when we actually like start and when we actually like end. So, but no, I'm not sure when I'll get to the Continental. I'll try and get to it this week if I can, but we'll see. We got another podcast to wrap up on Thursday, and then we will be ahead for October. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
I don't know what I'm going to do with free viewing time. I don't.
Get ready for November.
I watched all this shit while you were gone.
No, we'll figure everything out. It's all good.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to 0 Point Reviews with Jeff and Kevin. Please like our video, share it, comment, subscribe below, hit that little bell notification for all of our video content. We keep our movies rolling every Tuesday, so keep on checking us out. We'd love to have you along for the ride. We'd also like to thank everybody for tuning in to our podcast. We crossed over the 10,000 listen and download mark, so thank you, everybody, for checking us out there. We'll see you all next time. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at SunsAndShadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.